How did this start for you?
Well, we started in 1964. My brother and I started singing around the house, and this new music was coming over from England and was starting to trickle in, and we had some friends in England that were sending us this stuff before it was hitting.
Really?
So we started learning this stuff, and then we ended up meeting Don Shepard, our lead guitar player. He was another vocalist, so we had 3-part harmonies going. And from there, we picked up Danny Monago, our bass player, and Reggie Schaefer, our drummer. And there we had a group, and then we practiced for about 7 days a week for several months. And April the 10th, 1965, we did a Battle of the Bands. Back then, there was a lot of Battle of the Bands.
That, yeah.
We did a Battle of the Bands at Hartnell College, and we took first place, and that started it.
And you ended up going on the road touring with some pretty big names of that era, huh?
Yeah, we went out and did shows with Paul Revere and the Raiders.
I remember that.
Yardbirds.
Jimmy Page was playing guitar,
Page
wasn't he?
was playing then. Yeah, that was the first show he did with Yardbirds. We were with him.
Wow.
And
Love and
Spoonful.
Well? Yeah.
Jefferson Airplane.
Was it as crazy as we saw in movies like A Hard Day's Night, you know, that whole rock and roll frenetic thing?
It was with Paul Revere and the Raiders. We did the first show with them, and it was a good show. It wasn't wild and crazy. But the next time we did the show with them, they had became the house band on Where the Action Is.
Dick Clark show. Yeah, I remember that.
The next time we played with them at the San Jose Civic, it was just unbelievable. It was like the Beatles. I mean, it was pretty scary.
Somewhat surprisingly, I suppose your music has been re-released on CD now. We're playing a little bit of it now. Let's crank it up for just a second, and then we'll talk about how this all came to pass. What's the name of this song? Turn back the clock.
Put the clock back on the wall.
Put the clock back on the wall. This sounds very much like that English beat. The Hollies, Beatles, Dave Clark 5?
Yeah.
How did the re-release come to pass?
Well, we did an interview about 3 years ago with a fellow by the name of Judd Cost, and he, at the time, I didn't know he was connected with Sunday's Records back in New York.
They reissue the old stuff then?
Yeah, and I didn't know it, and he did this interview, and a friend of mine, John Snell, gave him some of our songs to refresh his memory. You know, it'd been a while. A few months later, he called me. He says, hey, you know what? He said, they want to reissue this out of New York. Is it all right? And I says, go ahead.
Heck yes. CD of the E-Types is available. In the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to talk more about this. We're going to hear the songs and maybe sell a few of these.
All right.
Maybe I can get a commission. All right.
Sure.
Bob Wence, thanks much. The E-Types. Very cool. And now the car types with...